Moving right along to our next speaker, that's Andrea Viaggio, and hope I've got it right. And it's about the dynamics of the translation process and its new paradigms in the era of IA. And there's a very long bio here which starts with Sworn Translator of English, and I think you just go ahead and share the screen. And I'm sharing the screen if you can see it. And just go ahead and start.
I'm sharing, yeah. I'm sharing. Can you see that? Good morning.
Yes,
okay, good morning to everybody from Argentina, Buenos Aires, Argentina. Very hot morning here, very hot morning. Morning is starting now. Thank you for joining. During this presentation, I will be making reference to changes in translation processes in the last 40 years, my experience as a translator. Though it may sound a history class, I am convinced this trip will be useful to understand some aspects of our work. I will start by making reference to glossaries. I remember when I used to study at university, the more glossaries we had, the better translators we were, and we knew that the better translators we would become. And the star was the word-for-word translator, word-for-word translation. And although we did study law, because I'm specialized in law, we did study law in an attempt to have context. When translating, we still used to think glossaries as our main asset for the translation process. As years went by, I remember translating with typewriters. How many of you used typewriters? Come on. Do you remember using typewriters at the beginning, paperwork, doing research at libraries? And then we did start to think context as our main source for translation. And then years later, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, the 150 characters and so on made started to change the way we worked, we used to work. And and in 2007, then we started with machine translation. And this machine translation was a method based on grammar structure. It was good, but slow. I remember we all used this tool as a way of translator, as an aid to do translation work for our translation processes. But it still was slow and it needed lots of editing, lots of thinking. The thing I want to mention is how from the beginning of my work as a translator, way back in the 80s to today, the way I work has changed. So you can imagine from the typewriter now in the 2007 to machine translation. But there was still more to come, because in 2016, a scientist, Ray Kurzweil, created a Google Neuron machine translation. This machine translation made us thought, oh my God, we will not have work anymore. We won't be working anymore. The more technological advances, the more fearful we were of losing our job. But suddenly we discovered that this Google Neuron machine translation allows machines to learn to translate. Machines can read millions of examples in seconds, and examples are found in database built over the years. That means whenever we are translating, we resort, not we are translate, the machine translate, the machine resorts to this database that is built in, that is fed into the whole world of neural system by us, by ourselves. Let's continue. Okay, here. So, but let me, can you see me? I think there is a problem with transmission. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Ah, okay.
Your screen a little bit
But
strange sometimes, but we can hear you.
oh, okay, yeah. Sometimes I feel a bit lost because the machine starts. I mean, the connection starts failing. I'm sorry. And so in simple terms, what is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence refers to systems or machines that emulate human intelligence. And let me tell you, um, emulate human intelligence to perform tasks and can improve the information they gather. They learn, they know how they they um, they learn, and this is incredible to understand. This is so real for us. How can a machine learn by itself? Artificial intelligence feeds machine translation, and this is very important fact, and turns machine translation into a tool that constantly learns and improves. And I marked, look, and highlighted tool, because that's what I think artificial intelligence is and machine translation is. It's a tool. Many translators are say or fear that our translation work will disappear sometime, but I think differently, and I would like you to join me um, in this trying to find the answer to this fear. Is our work disappearing? Will this disappear? Will machine translation aided by artificial intelligence take over our human intelligence as translators? But the way I see it, and taking this history, that's why I started going back to history in the 80s. Whenever there has been a change in the process or the tools we used for translating, um, we have adapted to every change, and we have used those technological advances as tools for our work. Because the way I see it, artificial intelligence is not intended to replace humans, at least for the time being. At least for the time being. It aims to enhance human capabilities. And what is a neural network? The neural networks resemble the human brain. They rely on millions of samples in multiple languages and use context and can deduce or rationalize the meaning of words and phrases from linguistics and psychology and many other um, contexts. But still, are they 100% accurate? At least for the time being, they're not. They're not accurate enough. And in this is important comes our work as trained translators. Artificial intelligence translation quality is good. I don't know whether you have been working with machine translation a lot. One of the engines that I use is deep learning. It is good, it's quite accurate, I must say, and it's cost effective, but I'll go back to this cost effective characteristic later. But it requires constant input of algorithms and close control by developers and researchers. And as this requires a constant input of algorithms, it means that it is not always that accurate, and that needs the human control. That's what I think, because the quality, as it needs constant input of algorithms, the quality cannot be 100% guaranteed. So human translators are still necessary. That's what I think. Good news. Good news. Let me think. Okay. And we cannot make reference to machine translation and artificial intelligence without mentioning post-editing. And what is post-editing? Is this? It's a process. It's a process of checking and correcting texts produced by machine translation systems. And it's another added value. And is it an added value, or is it becoming a profession? Instead of translators, are we becoming post editors? What is happening in the market today? In general, are we asked to post edit translations that have already been made by machine translations, and which the client asks you to check? That's a good work. A good question. In general, what I see is that today, almost 70% of the work is done by machine translation, and then translators are asked to post edit that translator. So have we become post editors? Oh, that's a question. And I believe that gradually we are becoming post editors. And so, have you heard of the ISO 18587, 18587? Okay, this is a norm that rules post editing. And in Argentina, it was adopted last year. It was adopted as IRAM 8587. That means that the post-editing job, I would say, is becoming more and more widespread, and it has been normalized. This norm refers to the original text, how the original text should be addressed. It refers to machine translation and how machine translation should be, what is machine translation, makes a definition of machine translation, and the different aspects of machine translation, and then makes reference to text production, to target text, and the abilities and the characteristics of the post editor concerning the target text, how important it is, what the client wants as the result, the target, the result of the translation, and of course makes reference to the to material, as we post editors use as reference to produce a good post editing work. So you see, so as the way I see it, have we become maybe post editors instead of rather than translator? Oh my God, there's a spelling mistake here. Rather than translator, as maybe not. Let's go through the characteristics of a post editor. A post editor, as concerning basic competencies, they are similar to a translator. He should be in the native language, should know should have linguistic competencies, should be culturally aware of the differences between the source, the original text and the target language, and then of course should have instrumental competencies. What does it mean? That should know how to use different the different cut tools, of course. So as concerning these competencies, I wouldn't say there is much difference between a translator and a post editor, but um, oh my God, hold on a second, please. I just wanted to do this. Okay, okay, but as we have come to the post-editing process, it has nothing to do with machine or can you hear me? I see that something is moving there.
Yeah, we can
Hello?
hear you. We can hear you. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. There is
We
the
hear you
screen
well.
is jumping. Okay, okay. So I believe that we have come to a very special aspect of our work, which is critical thinking. And I have carried out a survey among some of my colleagues here in Argentina and South America, Spanish speaking translators, Spanish native speakers, and they have all agreed. I mean, 70% of them use deep learning as a tool to translate, but they have made a point of editing. And when I asked them if with the technological advances they have lost translation work, none of them answered that they had. Just the opposite. They say that they are having a lot of work, they're working a lot, but the most important thing I asked, what do you think is the most important thing? Okay, to have good post-editing skills. And what is the most important post-editing skill is the critical thinking. And what is the critical thinking? The ability to analyze through focused thinking, and it comprises knowledge based on data and information and evidence. But we know what knowledge is, and then intelligence. But what do you mean by intelligence? Ability to apply that knowledge, and then the ability to make decisions, decision-making process. I mean, when we are in front of, when we are translating or correcting or analyzing a text that has been corrected by a machine, we should be very focused on the source language and the target language, what the client wants, because our translation is just not a translation, but a translation and its circumstances. I say, as humans, as we are, us and our circumstances. Okay, a translation is also a translation work and its circumstances. What are those circumstances? What the client wants, and those characteristics and that the client has asked for um, um, can only be achieved, I believe, through our human critical thinking. At least so far, I cannot think in the future, or maybe in 2 years, 4 years, 6 years time. I don't know what will happen with artificial intelligence or how well it would translate. So far, we have there is general agreement that the most important asset is for a translation work, for a translation process, is to resort to our critical thinking. So is today's translator a post editor? Should a today translator become become a post editor. For that, suppose if you say yes, so I would say that both a translator and post editor, in general, they have the same characteristics, and they should be flexible. If we hadn't been flexible through all these years since the 80s, when I started studying, I wouldn't have survived as a translator. And we should be able and willing to adapt to changes. And we should be focused on our work. That is I would say, is needed the most. Any questions? Any comments? I would like you to. I will stop sharing now, and what I want you to do, my presentation will be very short, because what I really want is to have a feedback and interaction, whether you have used any, of course you're using CAD tools, but what about machine translation? What about these technological advances? Have you ever feared these advances? What is your experience? Are you flexible enough? Are you creative enough? Do you consider to be flexible to adapt to changes? Any question?
I will not leave you alone, so nobody wants to. I will jump into the water. My name is Tzvia. This is only my husband's name. We are both here. I'm not afraid of changes. I'm taking them as an opportunity. If I work mainly with translation companies because I'm a medical translator, and usually the projects are multilingual, so you need a translation company for that. And from time to time, I'm offered things that are not exactly what I did for them until that moment, but something else, if it's in the domain, if it's with technology. So I'm trying to adapt and taking opportunities, except of using some primitive CAD tools that I'm not willing to use. I use MemoQ and take and ask them for the XLF files to work on them in MemoQ. But other than that, I'm willing to try new things.
Yeah, still, the machine translation and in artificial intelligence in very specialized text is not that good. I mean, it needs lots of post-editing. I see that in my job. I'm a legal translator. When I translate, you could say that contracts or whatever are always the same. Well, they are not. And especially when they refer to different cultures and different legal systems, you need a lot of knowledge of legal knowledge of the target or your client's country, in your client's country.
Yes, you need a specialized knowledge.
Exactly. So, but what I hear is that, oh my God, the translation work will be requested or required only 5 years more. These are the comments I hear in general when we are in front of a new technological advance. But to my view, what we need is a lot of you need to be flexible, you need to be creative, you need to be to adapt to changes and a lot of knowledge. And years ago, I went to London. I attended a conference before the pandemic. I attended a conference at a law school and in London, and they did not talk about specialization, but about super specialization, 5 years ago. And that is what I really agree with. I mean, you need to specialize in one field and to be ready and willing to work as post editor and to use all your knowledge. That's what I think. And so you have never been asked for post editing work? Those who are present there? No.
I've been asked for post-editing. I'm doing it from time to time. In the medical field, each company has its own environment because everything is confidential. They cannot let it out on any other tools that you can connect to your CAT tool.
Yeah.
But the main problem I find in using it is the poor corpora, because the human translation the machine are relying on is not good. So
yeah.
I frequently I'm asked to analyze mistakes, to say which type of mistakes I found, because they want to make the machine better. But I frequently tell them that the human translation is not good, because I can identify, and when you are a post editor and you work with it, you can identify a human error and to differentiate it from a machine error.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. And there is a question here concerning charges. How do you charge for post editing? And this is a good question, because whenever there are these changes, of course, if you are assisted by, if the machine does all the work, how are you going to charge as a translation? And I have been asking and doing research into this, and of course, in general, post editing work is charged 70% of our translation work. How about that? How do you feel about that? Because in fact, when you're post editing, you are reading everything. You are reading the whole thing. Although
I've been
there may
asked
be
to post edit, and I refused because I felt the pay was not adequate enough.
But the thing is that gradually more and more clients. I'm sorry. Are you okay?
Well, I'm at home, but there's a big rally going on downstairs, and they're using stun grenades, which is very frightening for me. So I'm going to get off.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make a comment, and people know that I do a lot of just editing work. I don't ask where it came from.
Okay.
I don't ask where it came from. Sometimes I know it came from machine translation, and sometimes I know it couldn't have, because it's got Greek and Latin and Hebrew and English all mixed up, and it wouldn't have been possible. But I just reckon that if it's supposed to be written in English, you still hear the original language behind it, whether it was French or Hebrew. And if it was translated, then yes, I agree that one needs to be able to look at the original. And I simply charge by the time it takes me. I have a look at it. I have some clients whom I know how much investment of my time is going to be. And there are clients, new clients, or clients with changing needs, who I have more difficulty estimating and giving them a global estimate for the job. And I think that that they're paying for the investment of my time. And I'm prepared that sometimes when it's a client that I've worked with for many years, I can do it faster. Because I know that if they give me something really new, they throw it at me and it's problematic, they will pay for the extra time. And they will get it, what seems to be them at a competitive rate because I'm experienced in their area of work. But if I were to do like some of the technical translation, rereading, post-editing, I expect that it would be more demanding, and I think that one should be paid for to reflect, the remuneration should reflect not just the expertise, but the expertise can be measured in other ways. It can be the time, it can be the market demand. In other words, if it's very much an area in demand. I'll give you an example. I understand that automotive, French into Hebrew is very hard to find in Israel. So, you're in a niche market, which is not mine, but you are in a niche market. And it might be difficult to find a Hebrew Chinese translator that's not going cascading by the English, and so on. So you have to take those factors into account, and that goes for post-editing too.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I understand. But in general, how do you feel about these market making differences in my market? For example, English, Spanish in general, English to Spanish. This market is very difficult because they ask for they won't pay you the same. I mean, there's a tendency not to pay you the same for a translation work. And the way I see it, it's the same as it is specialized. You are really working as a translator, although you are post-editing and you're using all your expertise to correct. And sometimes to correct a text takes more time than to create or translate it by yourself. And this is what clients are not aware of. And this is what sometimes I say. I have been working in translation for more than 40 years, and I have always tried to teach clients what a translation job is, because they think that translating means, okay, in my case, table, mesa, that's it. Or chair, silla, and that's it. They think that knowing a language is enough to translate. And I've been trying all these years to teach them that it is not. Now I'm fighting to make them understand that post-editing, it's a hard work, because you're requesting me not only to translate, to have this translation head in me, but also you're requesting me my expertise. So what happens if you go to, I always think about this. What happens if you go to a doctor specialized because you have an earache? He's specialized. He's an expert, right? So you pay for that, no matter if he was with you 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But what you're interested in, what you need, is his or her expertise. That's what I think. So for this, I make a special point. What I see is that knowledge when translating, when post-editing, is one of our main assets. Expertise, to know the in my case, I translate contracts and criminal law. I do criminal law, and I'm always trying to do my best and to have a good knowledge of in these fields. So whenever a client resorts to me, I know that apart from a translation or a post-editing work, they want my expertise in that field. So I am trying not to charge less. If it is a post-editing job, I believe it's the same as a translation job. I know it is a hard work. I know maybe it will be very difficult for clients to understand, because they say, okay, it's done. It's done. Look, I'm giving you the translation. You only have to read it, but it's not. It's not the case. You have to use all your expertise in that. So that's our job today. Apart from working, you have to explain clients what this is all about. Don't you think?
I certainly agree. I very much. You brought so many issues. I want to thank you, because I see that, as Eliezer knows, I don't accept work from Russian because they won't pay. They won't pay, full stop, sometimes, and because other times they want to pay peanuts. And there are translators out there who are working, scraping the bottom of the barrel, and especially on post editing. I think we're all in that state, but I think if you have, Andrea, you have added value and you have lots of experience, that it's a question of finding those clients and those types of work that will still bring in enough income.
Okay, yeah. Whenever I am at the university, I teach a university, I tell my students that it's not the client who sets the price of your job, it's you. So you can decide which client. Of course, it's hard. It's hard because sometimes you fear you won't have clients or you won't survive. But to tell you the truth, here in Argentina, we have every 3 months we receive suggestions of how much a translator specialized in legal translation should charge. And to tell you the truth, I have never charged lower than that. And I have always had
Andrea?
good, yes.
Unfortunately, in Israel, it's illegal to declare our rates.
Ah, you really?
Yes. Lawyers can, translator can't. So...
Yeah, but this is because of the legal situation of the translator. We are not a free profession as in Argentina.
Yes.
What Andrea means is for sworn translators and not for other branches. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, sworn translators, we are certified translators, and we every 3 months we receive suggestions for our rates, and to tell you the truth, it's good guide. It's a good guide because in a way it's hello Eliezer, how are you? I'm glad you could join. It's
late,
a good guide.
but that's fine.
Okay, late but sure. But I think it's a good guide. It's a good way of, I mean, we all have an idea, and as a guide, especially in Argentina, when rates change so much and there is such an inflation, it's a good thing to have a guide. But we as translators and with other colleagues, we have to agree that if there are minimum rates suggested, they are not compulsory, suggested minimum rates, it is good to respect them, because we are respecting our colleagues and our job, you know, because if we charge less, then our job, our clients will be looking for translations or translations with lower and lower and lower rates. And what is our future about if we charge less and less? So the situation in Argentina for sworn translators is a bit, I believe, more normalized. What do you think, Eliezer? It's different. Eliezer knows how we work in Argentina. You're muted.
Yeah, it's quite different. It's really a different ball game, and it's a different economy and a different situation. So, but you cannot be a sworn translator unless you learn in. How long is the career for?
5 years. 5 years at a
years.
law university.
Mhm.
Yes.
So
And then of course you do a postgraduate courses and you continue studying, specializing in different fields, because you can be a sworn translator, legal translation, but then you decide whether you want civil, commercial, criminal law, and then you specialize during the years. And there is an association here that I won't say control, that's not the verb, that's not what they
Implement.
do. No, yeah, but they suggest, they
Oh.
study, and I am part of both associations there in
Okay,
Buenos
the collective.
Aires.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes, the Buenos Aires Association and the Province Association. And they study the situation and they take into account what a translator needs in terms of technological, the machines, or the special courses they must attend, and how much they have to earn monthly, and they take that all into account to suggest rates we should take into account, so that we can to make our work worth it.
Okay, I think we're just about out of time, and I just first thank you. And I should maybe just one more
Okay.
comment. I'd like to make a very quick one. I haven't done MTPE. I haven't been asked to do MTPE. However, some of the source texts I got, technical manuals from English to Hebrew, and the manuals originated in countries where they don't speak much English, seem to me that the source text I got might have been the product of machine translation. Sometimes it felt
Machine
like this.
translation. Yes.
I think that the sources that I got might have been machine translation, and I needed to make sense of that and produce a good Hebrew translation anyway. And also, I'm always taken aback when there's some mention technology. First was TM, now AI, and people say, well, maybe it's good for technical stuff. And actually, no, because technical translation needs to be very precise. And the example I like to give is you can't really guess on safety precautions, for instance. And a lot of technical manuals have half of it is like safety precautions, and you can't do the like sort of, you know.
Yeah, when it comes to technical translation or technical context, what do you think about this controlled language?
Sorry?
Have you ever heard of controlled language?
Controlled language, yeah, that's pre-editing.
No,
it's more than that. It's Caterpillar English or things like that.
Sorry?
No, okay, Eliezer, go ahead. Go ahead about controlled language.
Please.
Yeah, controlled language is a special, it's simplified language. For one word, there is only one translation. There's only one translation. It's hard work, and it is especially done in technical
yes,
language.
In some technical fields, it's called Caterpillar English because of Caterpillar, the machine.
Okay, I think I'm familiar with the term pre-editing, which is very similar. First, you edit into the language the machine can do, and then it's edited. Well, again, it works in some contexts. First, you need to develop the simplified language for the particular field in order for it to work.
Yeah, Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
so
So there
it's
is
not,
a lot
it's not
to
a
do, you
general
know.
solution.
Yeah, that would be great in every field, I would say, because in legal English, that would be fine too. Simplified language. Okay, thank you to everybody. I hope you will think about post-editing, about charging post-editing, about being flexible, creative, and not giving up to technological advances. Keep me posted if you have any work, any question or any comment, anything. I will leave you. I don't know whether you have my. Okay. I will give this. This is my email address. If you want to contact me, I am ready and willing to answer any comment you make. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you from Argentina.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas de nada.
Okay, this
I will be very close to you from April to July. I will be visiting my daughter in Turkey. She lives in Izmir, Alsancak, and I might go to pay a visit in Tel Aviv. I would like to go there too. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye. See you.